This is the plaintiff, Richardine Scipio. She says she hired the defendant, a plumber, because she had a gas leak which needed to be repaired. And simply put, the man ripped her off. He came to her house, he pretended to fix the leak, then took her money. Turns out the leak was in the gas company's pipe. They made the proper repair, and she wants the $1,500 the defendant took from her returned. So she's suing. This is the defendant, Paul Huckmeyer. He says the plaintiff's story's hogwash. He made the necessary repairs for this woman. He did additional work for her, even paid the remaining permit fees out of his own pocket because he felt badly for her. Now, she turns around and sues him? Ha! He's accused of being full of gas. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $545, the amount owed for the additional work.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome in.
Richardine Scipio,
Yes.
you are suing Liquid Tech Plumbing. Mr. Huckmeyer, you're the owner?
Yes.
All right, for charging you to do some work that you say now was unnecessary, and you are suing her for the rest of the bill. Tell me about the work. What happened? Con Ed came out to your house,
Yes.
the power company here, and said what?
I called the power company, Con Ed, and told them I smelled a leak, some gas, and they came out and they said it was a leak and I needed to call a licensed plumber to do the work.
And did they shut down your gas?
They shut my gas down, yes.
Because that could, of course, become a very dangerous thing
Yes,
for you
absolutely.
and everyone around you
Absolutely,
if things blow
yes.
up. All right, so what month was this?
This was in January of 2019.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Was it cold?
Yes, it was. Very cold.
So how long were you without heat?
For 30 days.
What'd you guys do?
Boiled
Cuddle?
water. Yes, boiled water, burnt heating, and just cuddled. Yes.
Cuddle, lots of cuddling. Which sounds yummy unless you're really annoyed with the person next to you and you have to. All right, so now, did Con Edison give you anything in writing about what the problem was?
Well, they didn't give me anything. They told me verbally, but they sent me something with the account number where we had to go online, and the licensed plumber had to comply with their orders.
Okay, so it's dated 1/10. It's from Con Edison. It says on 1/7, our representative found a hazardous condition involving the gas piping and/or equipment at the above location and have either shut off the affected appliance or locked the gas service valve. Contact us. Let us know if repairs have been made. So there's a whole system in place for this because you're
Yes.
not the first and you won't be the last. And so what
Yes.
did you do? You hired him.
And the defendant came out to my home. He told me the price, although it was
What
steep.
price did he tell you?
He told me $2,500.
And what was the work that needed to be done?
Well, it's to actually do an initial gas test to find out where the leak is, in which we would disconnect the meter, introduce air into the system, and see, actually there's a soapy substance in which you see
And
where
then
it
you
bubbles.
see where the bubbles are coming
Then
out,
we make
and
the
that's where
repair.
the leak is.
Then we have to do the test again, and then we would reassemble the meter, and that also includes coming back out to meet Con Edison for the inspection and gas turn-on.
All right, so the total was how much?
$2,500 the initial.
All right, and when you say initially, why do you say initially? Because you entered into a second contract with her?
Well, we always say initial because when we do gas work and gas testing, we don't know what we're going to find. So it's always a preliminary estimate.
So what happened in this case?
Well, in this case, we tested, and then I submitted on 1/11.
Where was the leak?
It was on the inlet piping, a 2-inch pipe into the existing gas meter,
Which is outside.
outside the home.
Okay, is that typically Con Edison's job or your job?
My job.
When is it ever Con Edison's problem?
They don't accept responsibility.
For anything?
Only for the street. Everything beyond that.
Everything
is
beyond the
homeowner's-
property line,
is the
everything I
homeowner's.
own, including the problems,
Yes.
all right? So now, you did what you had to do. You
Yes.
submit the paperwork to Con Edison, hoping this will take care of it.
Yes.
Con Edison then said what?
To file permitting and continue testing the entire premises.
Okay,
not
continue testing. What does that mean? Because you
On
already
the
tested
outlet,
it.
on the outlet portion, because now the house is shut down and there are appliances, burners, boilers, hot water heaters within the home. In order for them now to come and turn that back on, they wanted the rest of that tested also.
Okay, but they always then wanted the rest of that tested, right?
Well, in this
That's
case-
not a new development.
No, in some cases, they do allow that to happen.
No.
How much is the second contract for?
It was an additional $850 for the
Did
testing.
she sign that?
She did.
And then they also wanted you to have applied for permits before
Yes.
doing the job?
Yes.
And was that surprising?
No.
So why hadn't you already applied for the permits?
Because what we did was we actually used the existing fitting that was there. We didn't replace any piping. We had unscrewed it and tightened it again and sealed it.
And under those circumstances, you don't need a permit?
I have had the gas turned back on by Con Edison, yes.
Let me see both contracts.
I'm getting.
Yeah.
All of that is untrue, first of all, Your Honor.
Okay.
There's a lot of contradiction. The defendant had to comply on Con Edison website, and I told him continuously, you have to follow what Con Edison asks you to comply.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
and he
I'm with you.
told-
I don't know if you noticed by my questioning, but I agree with you. You shouldn't have to pay extra for him to comply with Con Edison. I get that part.
Right.
First, let's get through the facts, then we'll get through your argument.
Okay.
You hire him. He
Yes.
does some work. They want some more. He wants to charge you more for the some more. That's one issue. Is he doing more work because another leak is somewhere? Or did he think he could slide by and not have to do some paperwork and now has to do some paperwork? All right, now, according to him, he submits everything and Con Ed turns on your gas. That's
no.
Just a moment, hold on.
No, they didn't turn on the gas. They rejected the paperwork.
The second,
They
once the
approved-
second stuff?
Yes, I had to submit certain affidavits
Okay, can you tell me why your work got rejected though?
because they wanted an EWN, which is called an emergency work notice, or a permit
Okay, and
in
then did
place.
you do that?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Then I went back and I went and inspected the interior portion of the home. We had to remove the stoves, shut the gas appliance valves. Also, I inspected the boiler room and found 2 T's in the lines on the way to the hot water heaters with plugs in them, which indicates future use, which is not allowed for.
What do you mean indicates future use?
Well, the Department of Buildings, when they come in, they would say, well, why do you have a plug in the line? Are you going to take that gas and illegally bring that somewhere else?
That's not.
So that would not pass inspection.
Okay.
I explained they had to be removed and replaced with solid piping, and then I can do the gas test again and have the inspection, and the plaintiff didn't want to hear it.
That's not
So
true.
she fired you?
No, well, at that point, I kept going back and forth. I offered her money back.
How much money did you offer her back?
$305 balance.
Okay, so you said to her, look, if you don't want to go through with this, then
I'll give you money back. What's left over, yes.
So what you offered her back on the $1,500 was the $300?
$305, yes.
Okay, but I'm confused only because you have a counterclaim against her for $545. What does that represent?
Well, what we did after that is we talked through things. This is dead of winter. I'm not looking to leave her without heat. I'm trying to help her out. So I did conduct the secondary portion of the test, which is the additional $850 on the second contract for $3,350. I was never paid for it.
And you're suing for $545 in your counterclaim
Right.
because you're still taking that $300 out.
Correct. The
You
permit.
know what? We're going to put a pin in you in just 1 moment, and I'm going to let her have the floor because I want to try to understand what your theory of this case is. According to you, Con Ed comes out and says, lady, you got to hire a plumber. Then you hire a plumber, and then Con Ed comes out and says, whoops, we made a mistake. You never should have hired a plumber.
Exactly.
Okay. Proof Con Ed came back and said, ooh, we made a mistake. You should have never hired a plumber.
I have the proof from the pictures when they came out and they stayed all overnight to 4 a.m. and they restored my gas. And I also had to call the building department and found a complaint against him, which I have right here, because he never filed the permits for Con Edison.
So you have the complaint. What happened with the complaint?
The Department of Buildings came out and they saw that the leak was from the supplier side. So they told me to call back Con Edison, and then Con Edison at that time sent someone out, and the gentleman.
I'm sorry. Again, everything you're telling me, do you have proof of?
Well, Con Edison, they doesn't give you proof when they come out, but they have proof of the date on the sticker when they making the repairs and they replace the new piping. When I called Con Edison, they came out again, as well as plumbing enforcement, and they said the work was never done. They said the work was never done.
Okay, now prove that to me.
They don't give you proof.
You can't just keep saying,
But they give
Judge Con Ed says he didn't do a good
Your
job, so
Honor,
I want every penny I ever paid the guy to work at my house back.
I have the proof from the pictures that showed Con Edison making the repair.
Show me the pictures that you say prove to me that he did no work.
And look at it's a date. They have the signs up with the date that they're making the repairs. And the that's the repair date.
Okay, but you understand that what this is probative of is that Con Ed did some repairs on January 17th. That's the only thing this proves.
That proves
it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that, and in fact, it has them doing work outside. It doesn't have them doing work at the meter.
Yes.
So that is, in fact, evidence of the opposite of what you're saying.
No.
If I may say something, the witness was her boyfriend that witnessed the repairs, and I guess that's why he's not here today. 'cause
No,
would have
he
had
was
to-
never
I don't
there.
care.
Could you, right, that's the meter.
I don't care.
But, Your Honor, that's the meter that Con Edison replaced the gas meter, because this defendant never did the repairs when they came out.
No. The meter is one thing, and the piping that goes to the meter is another.
No, the piping is right there. The new piping is there, and I can show you the old piping.
Okay,
It was
ma'am,
rusted.
unless you have evidence that proves to me that he did an unnecessary, that you asked him to do an unnecessary repair, and unless you have proof that he didn't do a repair, which you don't.
Well, it can clearly from the pictures of old piping, because when they came out, they said the defendant knew that it was the supplier side. They don't give you documentation.
I don't know if you've ever watched the People's Court or if you've ever been in court before, but let me explain to you how
I know it goes
works.
by evidence.
Okay, goes by evidence.
I understand.
So when you flap your gums and tell me, Con Edison said he's a crook and that he shouldn't have taken my money and the whole thing was outside, I don't buy just a person saying that.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Do plumbers take advantage of women more than men? We're going to you.
Yes.
Why?
Because we're women.
What does that mean?
Well, we're more vulnerable.
Is that true?
They don't think we know what we need done. That's why they take advantage of us.
Do you?
I think they take advantage, but they don't get hired by me.
Do women get taken advantage of more than men when it comes to plumbers?
I think so, yes.
Why?
Because we're vulnerable and we don't really know as much as they do.
But men who are not plumbers are also vulnerable in that respect. So why women?
I don't know, because we're the weaker vessel.
You are not. You know that's not true.
I don't know.
You know that's not true. Okay, we're going inside the courtroom.
Not only do you not have evidence of what you're saying, the pictures you have shown me only show Con Edison working outside your property line. So they show the opposite of what you are attempting for it to show. It's that you just want to come to court and have every penny you ever paid the guy paid back to you, and that's not going to happen. So on your claim against him for $1,500, I find in his favor. On his claim against you for an additional $545, I need you now to explain to me what it is that Con Ed made you do that you shouldn't have anticipated in the $1,500.
The original contract for $2,500 does not include any permitting or what you're stating. Because sometimes when we make these emergency repairs, especially when it was as cold as it was those couple of weeks in January, Con Edison will come out and make a site inspection and then have their turn-on crew come out and turn it on. If you notice in the second invoice, it includes in detail the permitting and everything that has to be done. She agreed upon that and signed it.
Let me ask you a question. Con Edison did not approve it. Why?
Because they wanted now the rest of the home to be tested. That actually is a new service.
But then you say you tested the rest of the home.
That was a secondary.
And then you did not submit that to Con Ed because she would not take out the...
The case was already started. It was in place.
That's not my question. You didn't submit it for closure because what she wants is heat. Okay? So you didn't submit it for closure because according to you, there were 2 pipes you found that required fixing?
I couldn't submit it for closure until I did the Department of Buildings inspection first.
But she did close it.
No, I wouldn't be able to submit it.
How did she get it closed and get her heat back on?
I have no idea.
How did you get it closed and get your heat back on?
Did
anybody make you close those pipes with plugs that were...
No, no one came in my home because Con Edison said what they wanted him to comply had to do with outside the home, had nothing to do with inside my home. He was just trying to get extra money.
Okay, no, I believe you that Con Ed had to do something outside the home. I just don't, that's just not proof that nothing had to be done inside. Stop, we're done.
It says gas leak repair.
As for your $1,500, you're not getting any of that money back. As for your lawsuit against her for an additional $545, you're not getting that either.
Okay.
Well, nobody will be happy about the outcome of this case. The plaintiff doesn't win, the defendant doesn't win. Ms. Sylvia, tell me what you're thinking right now.
I don't think the judge took the time out to look on the banner that was in front of my home that said from Con Edison, "We are repairing your gas leak." So I think she neglected to do that. So unfortunately, she want me to have paperwork that Con Edison, when they come out, they don't hand you paperwork. They do repairs and they move on.
Well, unfortunately, that's the law. She wanted evidence, and you just didn't have it. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Thank you. You do have heat.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Through Con
At least you got
Edison,
it back
not
in the
through
winter.
him.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
This
good enough.
defendant need to get his life, honey.
Thank you very much. Mr. Akmar, you're not happy either, right? You didn't get your additional
that's
$800
okay.
you wanted?
I'm happy that the judge found that she should not receive any monies back, which is fair. The picture that she showed with the new gas line being brought into the building has to be performed by the utility. We are not licensed to do so, so that work has to be done by Con Edison.
So was that new work?
That was new work from the street to her premises. As I explained to the judge, that initial valve that Con Edison installs is entirely their responsibility, and no cost is borne by the owner.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, you got to hire a licensed plumber because, number one, they're bonded, and number two, you can check their history.